Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's top stories. Protesters in San Francisco, California rallied to raise awareness about the Chinese Communist Party's human rights violations. New accusations against the rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Some brands are now cutting ties with him. Should politicians use Chinese names to get closer to Chinese American voters? San Francisco politicians are debating this issue. Sunday was the 75th anniversary of International Human Rights Day. Events in California highlighted ongoing abuses by the Chinese Communist Party. NTD's Jason Blair reports.
In 1948, the United Nations declared December 10th as International Human Rights Day. In San Francisco, where the UN was formed, protesters gathered in front of the Chinese consulate. One protester said it's important for people in free countries to make noise about human rights abuses.
Because the people who are actually oppressed, they're not able to speak up.
There were multiple groups represented, all of them calling out the ruling government of China, the Chinese Communist Party, for their human rights abuses and international bully tactics.
The Chinese government have violated several times with the cultural genocide of Tibet, with the occupation of East Turkestan, with the incarceration of the Muslims, even with the occupation of Hong Kong.
There were groups representing communities from China, Tibet, the Philippines, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the Uyghurs in East Turkestan.
We have actually lots of Tibetans who actually fled Tibet and came here and who have the actual experience of how they were being treated. And not only Tibetans, there are lots of Uyghurs people who were in the forced camps.
Also in California, a new statue was unveiled in Liberty Sculpture Park. It's a remembrance of the hundreds of thousands who fled from China to Hong Kong in the 1970s. At the time, Hong Kong was a territory of the United Kingdom. Liberty Sculpture Park has numerous statues and memorials for victims of the Chinese Communist Party.
All the people who are being here in a free country come here together in a memory and to stand united for them, that they're not alone, and all the oppression against Tibetans and the Uyghurs and the Hong Kongers and Taiwanese, that we stand together with them.
Reporting in California, Jason Blair, NTD News.
Now let's take a look at other national headlines. Officials in Tennessee are assessing the damage after tornadoes and strong storms tore across the state on Saturday. The storms killed at least 6 people and injured 50 more. Multiple buildings were also destroyed. One tornado was caught on video by an eyewitness as he moved over Madison, Tennessee, causing electrical flashes and an explosion.
Oh my God.
Video from Clarksville, one of the hardest hit areas, showed wrecked buildings and debris scattered along the road as slow-moving traffic drove by. 3 more deaths were reported in the suburbs of Nashville, according to the City Office of Emergency Management. Police said a toddler was one of the 3 victims in the Nashville area. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell called the destruction heartbreaking.
We have been working very closely with Nashville Electric Service. They are still trying to restore power to 26,000 Nashvillians. Their crews have been working around the clock to get impacted Nashvillians back online as quickly as they can. In total so far, our responders have identified 22 structures that have collapsed as a result of the storm, and countless others have sustained significant damage.
More than 40,000 people in Tennessee were left without power as of Sunday morning, according to the website poweroutage.us. Articles of impeachment against President Biden could come in as early as the spring. That's what Republican Congressman Byron Donalds, who sits on the Oversight Committee, said in an interview with Fox News on Sunday.
Well, what I see happening is that over the next month or 2, we're going to finish our investigation. I do believe at that point it's going to be crystal clear that there are articles of impeachment that should be drafted for Joe Biden.
Also, in the wake of a mysterious pneumonia outbreak in China, several GOP senators now urging the Biden administration to impose a ban on travel between the U.S. and the communist nation. This comes as 2 U.S. states are already seeing an unusual spike in child pneumonia cases. In a letter to the White House, 5 Republicans led by Senator Marco Rubio warned against the CCP's, quote, long history of lying about public health crisis. The lawmakers hope to immediately halt travel to and from China until more information is released about the dangers of the unknown respiratory illness. Despite the unusual surge in cases, China says there is no new pathogen behind the outbreak, but instead blames it on seasonal flu. Meanwhile, concern has been on the rise in other parts of the world. Last month, the World Health Organization called on China to be more transparent about the outbreak. A new accusation against Sean Diddy Combs has emerged as a 4th woman filed a lawsuit alleging sexual assault. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
The legal action claims that Sean Combs, along with Harve Pierre and an unnamed individual, allegedly gang raped and sex trafficked the plaintiff, known as Jane Doe, in 2003. She was 17 and Combs was 34. The lawsuit, seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief, was lodged in a federal court in New York under the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Law. This law grants survivors of alleged gender-motivated violence, including incidents of sexual abuse within the state, until March 1st, 2025, to file civil claims. The accuser's legal representation is provided by Douglas Wigdor, who previously represented singer, model, and actress Cassie Ventura in her federal lawsuit against Combs. This comes after Ventura and 2 other women, Liza Gardner and Joey Dickerson Neal, also alleged in lawsuits last month that Combs sexually assaulted them. Amid the sexual assault allegations, 18 brands have cut ties with Combs' recently launched e-commerce platform, Empower Global, undergarment and shapewear line Nudie System, clothing brand No One Clothiers, luxury skincare brand Suri, and high-end jewelry seller Fulaba are just some of the companies who terminated their contracts with his site. Christina Corona, NTD News.
Non-Chinese politicians in San Francisco have a history of using Chinese names to win elections, but this practice may be changed. NTD's David Lam reports.
Political candidates of different backgrounds in San Francisco have been using their Chinese names on election ballots, but rules on this are getting strict. The San Francisco Standard reports, after an inquiry from Supervisor Connie Chan, the Department of Elections has decided to follow a 2019 state law saying self-submitted Chinese names may only be used if candidates can prove that they were born with them, as many Chinese immigrants or Chinese Americans were, or they have been using the names for at least 2 years.
In the past, candidates have been using more of a slogan or a couple of words in Mandarin or Cantonese to endear themselves to the public, but now the state law is requiring more of a phonetic interpretation of someone's English name. So it's important that there be outreach and voter education in the Chinese American community so they understand this transition.
For example, the characters in candidate Daniel Lurie's name mean auspicious and virtue. If candidates don't meet the ownership requirements for the name, they may get a transliteration-based name instead. In this case, Danier Lu Li, which doesn't have a special meaning according to the report. Supervisor Chan has concerns about cultural appropriation and potential abuses of names. Chan told the Standard, "Cultural appropriation does not make someone Asian. It should be based solely on a person's ethnicity and heritage." But some are questioning the move and saying there are more pressing issues in the city. Politician Marjan Philhauer, who's had a Chinese name for over 8 years, tells NTD her thoughts.
I think it's important that we're respecting our Chinese community and also elevating those voices around that issue. That being said, I find it interesting that this is coming up smack dab in one of the biggest election years San Francisco has ever seen. What I'm hearing every day is people are concerned about their safety. They're concerned about streets, and they're not as concerned as a supervisor who is focusing on renaming people. I think that's not the top priority of people here in the neighborhood.
NTD reached out to Connie Chan for comment, but did not hear back by deadline. David Lam, NTD News, California.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. California faces a looming budget deficit. What caused the state to fall from a surplus in recent years? Which college majors tend to earn more? New data finds the 5 top earning degrees. A historic moment in sports history. The LA Dodgers assigned Shohei Ohtani to the team. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. California went from billions in surplus to billions in deficit. Now the governor will have to come up with a new proposal for next year as he builds his national profile for a possible presidential run in the future.
California is facing a record $68 billion budget deficit, state officials announced December 7th. During Governor Gavin Newsom's first term in office, the state had record-smashing surpluses of more than $100 billion in some years. The money allowed him and his Democratic allies in the state legislature to greatly expand government, including paying for guaranteed health insurance for all low-income adults, regardless of their immigration status, and free lunches for all public school students. Newsom had also promised billions towards addressing the homeless crisis, EV infrastructure, among other things. Now, in his second term, growing budget deficits could threaten some of Newsom's accomplishments. The Legislative Analyst's Office says their projections from 2022 to 2023 through 2027 to 2028 show a cumulative deficit of $155 billion. As prices and interest rates increase, fewer people and businesses are borrowing money, meaning fewer people are buying homes and fewer businesses are hiring workers. That leads to fewer tax collections for the state. It turns out that Newsom and the legislature misjudged how much taxes people and businesses would pay. The nonpartisan Legislative Analyst's Office said tax collections were off by $26 billion, a major driver of the deficit. When combined with the economic slowdown California has been facing since last year, it leads to a predicted deficit of $68 billion. California's current budget tops $300 billion, the largest by far of any state. In an email statement to the Epoch Times, Newsom's office said, in January, the governor will introduce a balanced budget proposal that addresses our challenges, protects vital services and public safety, and brings increased focus on how the state's investments are being implemented, while ensuring accountability and judicious use of taxpayer money. Newsom will present his plan in January and then negotiate with state lawmakers through June. The next budget year begins July 1st.
Which college degrees tend to earn higher salaries? New census data reveals varied U.S. incomes, with engineering at the top of the list. NTD's Stephanie Sikal tells us more.
Recent data from the U.S. Census Bureau's 5-year survey unveils a median household income of around $75,000 in the United States. But individual earnings vary based on factors like location, gender, occupation, and education. High school graduates report a median income below $37,000, while those with a bachelor's degree earn just under $65,000. Engineering emerges with the highest national median income at about $111,600, but Washington stands out with those in computers, mathematics, and statistics, reporting $136,800. Statewide, engineering majors generally earn more except in Washington. On the contrary, certain fields fall below the national median, such as visual and performing arts, education, psychology, multidisciplinary studies, literature, and languages. Despite varying incomes, individuals with these degrees likely contend with a national student debt exceeding $1.7 trillion, with East Coast residents facing the highest burden as revealed by recent Department of Education data. Stephanie Sikal, NTD News.
Many elderly Americans are becoming victims of online and phone scams, leading to billions of dollars in losses every year. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
Some of the most popular types of fraud targeting the elderly are cryptocurrency and investments they have. Ailey Baldwin, a detective in the Fraud and Cybercrime Unit with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, shared insights into the most recent fraudulent schemes.
We have what Chinese called sa zhu pan, and then now we have the most recent one, sa yu pan.
In English, it's known as a romance scam.
You get contacted by either a love interest or somebody befriends you over the internet, and then for a while, no money is discussed, but quickly, like maybe after several weeks of contact, they start telling you how their job is in investment, and then they have some great investment opportunities they would like you to engage in.
Baldwin says at that point, many people start falling for the scam due to the trust they have already built with the suspect. With AI advancements, scammers can now alter their voice and appearance during video calls, often occurring in scams targeting romance or grandparents.
The grandparents receive a phone call or video calls from their family members or grandchildren asking financial help. You know, they're usually always trapped in a different country, in trouble with the law.
Creating fake websites that appear to be a real investment company, especially in areas like cryptocurrencies.
You know, they believe that they invested into a real account under their name. Only they know their passwords, they're putting money, they're looking at money grow, but they don't understand that they will never be able to get that money out. That's just a fake number. Whenever they try to withdraw that money, and the suspect will always tell them like, oh, okay, your money's grown so much, now you will have to pay taxes before you can take it out.
She says elderly individuals, especially those without family nearby, faced scams from caretakers or friends in their later years.
So once the suspects find out that these elderlies are alone, and then or their family members are far away, they will isolate that individual and eventually take over their homes and drain their bank accounts completely.
According to a recent AARP study, an estimated $28.3 billion is lost to elder fraud scams each year. The more the public is aware of scamming methods, the less likely they are to fall victim. Christina Corona, NTD News.
Shohei Ohtani, arguably the most talented baseball player of our time, has signed a historic contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers. NTD's Carlos Reyes is here to provide his insight on this huge moment in sports history. Carlos, what is your initial take on this unprecedented deal?
Thanks, David. It truly is a historic moment in sports. Shohei Ohtani has consistently defied expectations throughout his career, and this move to the Dodgers is no exception. The $700 million 10-year contract is not only the largest in baseball history, but also the biggest ever in professional team sports. It's nearly twice the size of the next best free agent deal.
Now, this announcement seemed to catch everyone by surprise, especially considering the chaotic final hours leading up to it. What's your perspective on the dramatic buildup on Ohtani's decision?
Absolutely, David. The buildup was insane and honestly reminiscent to me of LeBron James picking up the Miami Heat in that move he did after leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers. There were rumors, erroneous reports, and even fans tracking private jets. In the end, Ohtani revealed his decision on Instagram, and it turned out to be the Dodgers. The anticipation leading up to this announcement just shows the immense impact he has on the baseball world.
And Carlos, how do you envision the Dodgers strategically benefiting from this move, given their reputation for an analytical approach and on-field success?
Yeah, so the Dodgers have proven to not only be a baseball powerhouse on the field, but also a savvy organization of it. By securing Ohtani, they not only added an unparalleled talent to their roster, but also a player with immense marketing value. The Dodgers are well positioned to leverage Ohtani's popularity, and the $700 million deal, though eye-popping, might have a lower present-day value due to deferred payments.
Speaking of deferred payments, how might the financial details of this contract impact the Dodgers' ability to build a competitive team around Ohtani?
So yeah, that's a crucial aspect, David, like you go ahead and touch on. While the headline figure is staggering, the present day value may be more manageable for the Dodgers due to deferred payments. This financial flexibility could allow the Dodgers to strengthen their roster, potentially making moves in the pitching department and adding key players to complement Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman.
Right. The Dodgers' global appeal is also expected to soar with Ohtani on board. How do you think this move could impact not only the team's success, but also its standing in the international baseball community?
So yeah, David, that's huge. Like you go ahead and mention, Ohtani's presence on the Dodgers undoubtedly elevates their global appeal. The team could become a magnet for top international talent, especially from Japan. With the potential addition of players like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the Dodgers could solidify their position as the American outpost for the best players worldwide.
All right, Carlos, thank you for your insight.
Yeah, no problem, David. Catch you on the next one.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.